my G's. Y'all should know what it is. It is BKA Watts, one half of the Blerds and Clips podcast, coming at you live right here from the Pro 3 ENT Network by way of the Revolt Podcast Network. As usual, delivering you motherfuckers another one of them flawless, repetitious intros. And as always, I'm with my dog.
Pigatron 999, I'll cut your fucking head off.
Fuck it. Hey man, y'all know what it is, man. It's Blerds and Clips, our TV, movie, video game, and whatever the hell else we feel like talking about podcast, because it's our goddamn show. And as y'all can see, we festive, my G's, because
it's Halloween. A bar mitzvah. Oh, okay. Never mind.
Halloween around the corner, y'all. So I got some cape on, you know what I'm saying? But I ain't saving them hoes.
Pause. I like that. Anyway.
You know what I'm saying? But as y'all can see, this nigga Vig claws out. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? It's a sharp nigga one time.
Yo, ladies, what's up with the shocker? I'm ready.
Nigga said he's trying to get some stab. Come and get the jab.
All right. Yeah, this is a sometimes audio podcast.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. You're right. We do got to consider that. We have to consider the fact that this is an audio podcast.
Couldn't see me going berserk.
No.
Hear me going berserk.
See, yeah, you feel me? Just know that, okay, it got real over here for a second. All right. So listen, man, today, I guess we're gonna tap into some Halloween themed activities for the pod. You know, we got horror shit, we got box office to cover, we got shows to cover, we got movies to cover, so on, so forth. Cause, you know, why the fuck not?
I'll tell you why. Well, I don't know. I got nothing.
Okay. Cause look, if you actually had a why, I was about to be lost, nigga.
Yeah, nope.
Like usual, I'm not gonna ask Vig about his week. It's cool. But I know something from Vig's week. You know what I'm saying? My nigga is prepping for another potential movie role out here.
You bringing that up?
Why the fuck not? It's a movie podcast.
Yeah, but none of that is guaranteed. That's like saying I applied for a job. Like, nigga, there could be nothing that could come from that. And so, therefore, it's not necessarily...
But there could be something.
There could be something, but I mean, unless it's to be spoken on, that's why I never speak on shit.
And you already a shoe-in.
Maybe.
I guess.
Only because I was in the previous movie, but I mean, yeah, that's not a guarantee. But I mean,
like I said,
let them tell it. It should have been, but you know, whatever.
You feel me? That's all I'm saying. Just a shoe-in. You know what I'm saying? Niggas already know your work. You know what I'm saying? Like the New York niggas say, you know what I'm saying? They know your body. Pause.
Yeah, pause.
That is so weird. Yeah. By the time y'all are seeing this episode, I am well underway on working on the next wave of Pro 3 fuckery. So I am feeling very good about that, Vig. You and I have not even gotten a chance to talk about this shit yet. But November, there's going to be a...
No, not November.
Not for your boy. But...
No shave November.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, it's actually it's just no shave.
And when I say no shave, I mean your balls.
Oh, no. Nigga, you always got to shave your balls because Manscaped. You know what I'm saying, nigga? You know, with the new Lawnmower 5.0, I don't even, they might be on 6 by now. I have no fucking clue.
I don't know. I'm shaving my balls with them claws.
I mean, nigga, yeah, for however much they fucking cost.
Schnickty, swoop.
You feel me?
Oops. I'm now castrated.
You feel me? I am now, you know what? Let's not get canceled.
Oh, now. You don't want to get canceled.
Now, niggas don't want to get... Nigga, listen. The cancellation is always on the table. We be trying not to, okay? But, yeah, bro, we gonna roll out a new thing for Pro 3, so y'all just be looking out. Something is coming down the pipeline for November. If you are a podcaster or if you are a potential podcaster, nigga, you considering fucking with podcasting and you are in Northeast Ohio, just get fucking ready, because I am about to do some shit that does not exist and that has not existed before, and I'm looking forward to fucking the game up. And not like how niggas be like, yeah, nigga, I got 3 club bangers, 3 songs for the bitches, 3 for the streets, nigga. The album crazy. No. I'm talking about, nigga, I'm actually about to try to fuck the game up for this podcast shit. And I thoroughly believe I have the method.
Whole nother level.
We talked about that in the last clip. How you could be on this level, but not even realize it's this level, which is a whole nother.
And it's extra levels on top of the sub levels. So you got to get yourself level. And what is it? What's level spelled backwards?
Level. Nigga, that is amazing, nigga. Hadn't even realized.
Both ways.
Either way.
Pause. No Diddy, but both ways.
Either way. All right? Levels is levels. You know what I'm saying? We got to level up on these niggas, especially the haters. So, yeah.
Level Film Festival.
Levels Audio Art Experience.
Levels. Whole nother level. All right.
That's all it is to it. All right, so real quick, I am, y'all know, Vig don't care about these white people money. He don't.
Sure don't.
He don't. But I am at least going to acknowledge the box office. Why? Because this the Halloween episode, nigga. So we talking about horror shit, scary shit, Halloween theme shit. With that being said, the box office is looking scary right now for multiple reasons. You know what I'm saying? Actually really good for a bunch of these motherfuckers' pockets because a bunch of movies are doing really fucking well. This weekend, Smile 2 came out. With that being said, Smile 2 came at an estimated 23 million. That's bread. You know what I'm saying? That's bread. So number 1 at the box office, that's easy. And Wild Robot, even though it's not doing that well because of how superb its hold is, slides in at number 2. So you got Smile 2 at 23 million. You got Wild Robot came in at only a 27% drop, which is fucking phenomenal in terms of box office hold week to week. And then you got Terrifier 3 slides into the number 3 spot, only in the second week. Also, strong 50% drop. So that's exactly where you want to be. And typically, horror usually drops off more than that week to week. Doesn't do well. Most people go see it. You might get some word of mouth. That joint got a crazy cult following. Now I need an Art the Clown Funko Pop because he low-key a legend. You got 3 movies that have all done better and better, went up exponentially. The joint came out last week, made 18 million on week 1, made 9 million week 2. So that's perfection when it comes to the box office, especially because they making that shit for like 38 cents in 2 Will Smith bootlegs.
Word.
So that's fucking fantastic. A new movie slides into the fucking top. Where the fuck it came from, couldn't tell you. Bitch must have just hit wide release. Joker is still in the top 10. How? I low-key couldn't fucking tell you. But like, outside of barely. Joker being in the top, it's at number 6. Beetlejuice is at 4 though, still in there. Holding super solid. Beetlejuice dropped another 45%, but Beetlejuice has blown every expectation for it the fuck out of the water. It's I don't what they call. They had Matthew McConaughey made his comeback run, his McConaissance. There's a Keaton-assance, my nigga.
I don't know about that.
I don't see how not.
Because I feel like he's always been fairly consistent. I don't think he's ever had a real drop off per se.
I feel like
I just think the movie's doing extra better because of the fact that it was more black people in it. So black people was like, oh, this nigga's in there dancing, so let me go see the new Beetlejuice. That's what I think happened. Never underestimate the power of niggas.
You feel me?
All right, anyway.
Nah, but I would say the newspaper joint. That was a couple years ago, though. Spotlight?
Yeah, that was like a fucking decade ago at this
That's
point.
what I'm saying. So then it was like, no. Before that, I couldn't tell you the last Michael Keaton hit.
Well, I think he's been, again, it seems like if you're talking about hit, it makes it seem like you're talking about something that he was the lead in, maybe, or whatever. But again, I don't think he wasn't at a point where he wasn't visible or wasn't in big things. Because I mean, you figure in between that time, he's been like, if you say like if he was in Spotlight, or he had Birdman, or he was in The Founder, you know, which is pretty cool, by the way. I still haven't watched Birdman, but I mean, learning how the McDonald's got fucked out of McDonald's is
It's
pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But like I said, he's consistently had stuff. So like then, you know, him being in Spider-Man Homecoming, this, that, and the third, like I said, I don't think he's at a point where it was like, oh, he's extra cold. Like, it's not like he's coming back on some John Travolta shit from the 80s to the early 90s being in Pulp Fiction, and then all of a sudden he started getting stuff. So that's why it doesn't seem that way to me, because I'm like, he didn't go anywhere.
No, and that's the thing. It's low key. Like, I feel like he did, because it was like Beetlejuice, 2 Batman movies, and then low key felt like, where the fuck was Michael Keaton after that? To me, and again, you know, we'd already talked about this from my perspective of having like a limited scope of view going through like the majority of the 90s going into like early 2000s. Not really remembering seeing him in shit during the 2000s, during my teenage years for real, or going into my early 20s. And then by the time I seen Michael Keaton again, he was old.
Well, it's one of those things where obviously on a separate point, you're going to have to do you a little IMDb scope and then kind of eat your words.
Okay.
See a bunch
maybe I'm saying there, like, it's not like, especially once I really, really got into shit in that early 2000s bag, like major releases were pretty easy on my radar. But I remember Spotlight, Founder, Birdman. Then from there, and that was like all dope movies, but like a dope movie every couple years kind of shit. And then all of a sudden it was nigga multiple Spider-Man appearances. He in the MCU now. We got him back as Batman in Flash. We got him as Batman. Well, obviously that Batgirl joint ain't coming out, but you know what I'm saying, they stuck. We got him there again as Batman. Would have gotten him there. Then we got Beetlejuice coming back after 30 years. So it was like, it seems like in this past couple years, it's just been like Keaton. Like he been hitting. Like now it's like it went from movie every couple years to now my nigga cooking.
Okay, so for the sake of lack of slow news day, as they call it.
For sure.
So I'm going to go back to just saying, even after Batman Returns, just throwing out some highlights. I'm not going through everything.
I got you.
Multiplicity, 96. Jackie Brown. Desperate Measures, I think, was some kind of hit at the time. He was in Out of Sight. He had Jack Frost, which I think was arguably not really loved, but nonetheless,
that was actually perfectly in the window of me in like those early teen years to be like, I like this. So I remember Jack Frost. That is one I remember.
He had White Noise, which I think did have some kind of notoriety.
Also, you right.
Let's see, not that. He did a lot of, TV shit in between, and so I'm just kind of skipping over a lot of that. But like I said, he was regularly acting on so much shit. I didn't even realize he was in Toy Story 3, but apparently he was.
Me either.
Way more TV shit here and there. I forgot the fact he was in that RoboCop remake.
Oh man.
He was in Need for Speed. Birdman. He actually was in Minions, which I didn't know.
Yeah.
Spotlight was 2015. Founder 2016. Homecoming 2017. I think he did some other kind of like straight to video shit. He was in Dumbo, even though I didn't see that, and I know it supposedly was like, talked about. Let's see. Forgot that he had to show up in Morbius. So I think only like it seems like he still consistently has something like almost every year or every 2 years or whatever of varying degrees. But again, like I said, from my perspective, he was never gone.
For sure. It definitely felt like Batman vanished, Jack Frost vanished. Like I said, founder spotlight, Spider-Man, and then been like nonstop Keaton since then.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of the other things that he was in had no interest to you. And again, definitely when I've seen him on so many shows, because just like I had him listed there, is that he was on 30 Rock. And it's like, yeah, I kind of remember that because I only watched 30 Rock for the first and second time. I've gone through the whole series, like I think maybe 2000 or 2019. And then I just did it again, like maybe earlier this year. I went back through 30 Rock again. So, I mean, but again, like I said, he's been on a lot of shit where he's just shown up in certain shows and things like that where it might have been a bit smaller. But like I said, he ain't never been hurting for work.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Or like I said, he never had a real fall off. So like I said, that's why I said in comparing that
well,
to
and I'm
John
not saying
Travolta,
that he had a fall off. Just saying that it felt like he just wasn't visible like that.
Nah, I think he was.
But I always loved Michael Keaton. So it was like I particularly can't like think of anything that I've seen that I was like, oh, that was awful that Michael Keaton did.
Right.
So it's just dope to see, especially like the successes that have come from him popping out and showing niggas, bro. But right now, the top 10 in the box office has 4 entries that all fit into our theme for the day. Of course, being The Nightmare Before Christmas at number 10, going up from there, Beetlejuice, Terrifier, and Smile 2. Beetlejuice being, of course, horror comedy. You know how we play with that. But it's that time of year. It's that time of year for sure.
Christmas?
Listen, you already know, bro. As soon as the leaves turn orange, all the businesses in America just be ready as fuck to drop the Christmas shit. But we gonna talk about the Halloween in between and beforehand, all right? So Joker is just the one thing that still just is in there just looking fucking terrible, bruh. Fucking terrible. Coming in at $2 million. A fucking $1 billion movie to turn around with this god-awful fucking sequel follow-up. The critics killing it. The fans killing it. It lost a bunch of theaters already. It's getting stumped on and dog walked. It's already at number 6. It's not going to be in the top 10 too much longer at this rate. The shit dropped another 70%, 68%. Of course, these are estimates because it's Sunday, but 68%. And that's in third week of release after taking a 80+% drop going into its second week. That shit is fucking terrible. I didn't go see it. You didn't go see it.
I cry one thug tear for the failure of Joker 2.
Did you fuck with 1 for real?
No, I told you I kind of didn't. It was one of those things of like,
oh no, I know you told me you wasn't going to see it too.
Right, but I told you that when we saw it, I came away from it going, oh yeah, that was cool. But again, I feel like I've seen it before, being it, yeah, if you watch Taxi Driver, if you watch The King of Comedy, if you watch any of that old Scorsese shit from the 70s or early 80s, it was very much like that, except they just put a coat of DC on it and say, yeah, here you go. So again, it wasn't the worst thing, but I didn't walk away from it going like, oh yeah, that was great. I was just like, yeah, it was cool. So I found out now, like I said, in recent years that, especially like in the last 4 years, things revealed themselves to me when I walk away and I go, yeah, that was cool. And then I realize how much I have not watched them since then, especially when it comes to things like comic book movies. Because again, I have never watched Joker 1 more than the one time we saw it in the theater, and that was it. I own it, not on DVD, but you don't worry about how I get my fucking movies.
Yeah, I ain't got to worry about that.
But I have never watched it again, and I have every opportunity in the world to watch it, and I've never done that. No different than, what was that shit? It was something else more recent that had nothing to do with that, but another movie where I realized, like, oh yeah, I really don't love it the way I thought I did, because like I don't really rewatch it. I'm not gonna go off into a tangent. It's some MCU shit, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, Joker 1, no. So like I said, when you tell me that it's going to be a musical, you've already lost 70% of my interest.
Facts.
So let alone if I didn't really care or feel like I didn't feel like the movie needed to be made in the first place, let alone have a sequel, and you tell me it's going to be a musical, that is all kinds of shit for a recipe of shit stew. I don't want to eat shit stew. So why would I even bother? And then let alone for this to happen. So it's one of those things where like you don't want to wish bad on motherfuckers. Well, do I want to wish bad on rich motherfuckers? I don't give a fuck. But nonetheless, I don't feel bad about the failure. And I'm not, I didn't want to necessarily see the failure coming, but I'm not going to also say I'm happy about the failure, but I don't give a fuck. That's what they get. Whatever.
Yeah, for just deciding to do, I'm not mad at taking risks. I'm not mad at doing something different. I'm not. But when you do something that works in every fucking way, in ways that nobody even saw coming, and you have the opportunity to do it again, why would you do this and deviate from every element of it to just do some weirdo shit and fucking ruin what you established?
You know what? It reeks of, this is speculation because I'm not these rich white men. It reeks of people that are artists or auteurs or whatever you want to say that makes it sound more sophisticated, saying, hey, I could do something with this and it not be the atypical and wanting to put their spin on it. That's why it's basically kind of like an Elseworlds thing for DC where it's like, yeah, this isn't regular continuity, but I'm sure I could do something with this and make it cool. And you get the opportunity to do it and let alone it be a success. But again, I didn't want to see that happen, but I get it. So I excuse it. But yeah, I don't give a shit. I don't look at it as any different than any of the other reboots of anything else where like if it's new generation or where there's like Transformers and then you got different versions and you got the Michael Bay versions and people bitched about that and blah, 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 so on and so forth. Like there's always going to be new takes on everything because, you can't go 60 years of having the exact same shit if it's the same way. And that's going across the, I'm just throwing 60 out there because, hell, Joker has been around for 70 or 80 at this point, probably from his creation. But no different than I'm thinking about, like, say, Spider-Man. And Spider-Man's been around for 60 years and so on and so forth. Just thinking of all those different things that have had new iterations of it. And speaking of which, when I brought up Transformers, I realized that's another thing. I don't think we ever talked about that or discussed that, but I did see Transformers 1. But I'm going to not sidebar this with that. I'll bring that up later.
No, for sure. Okay, but that, which is also in the top 10 on the box office. It's not doing great, but the reviews have all been good for it. The score is good. But and that's the part that's fucked up about that shit is the fact that it has solid both critic and audience scores across the board. IMDb, overall Metacritic, everything is doing good everywhere. Everybody's fucking with it, but it just did not get a good turnout. And that's probably because of how fucking poorly damaged the franchise is by the slew of shitty movies.
So are we just going to touch on that now or are we going to come back around?
If you want to bring it back at some point, that's cool.
Well, I'm just saying.
I was just speaking to the box office.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll wait until you finish with the box office.
Oh, listen. That covers it for us. Realistically speaking, the box office is 4 out of 10 films are horror or horror related. Joker did god awful. So we got an 80% drop and we got a 70% drop. That joint dead in the water is over with. Nobody liked it. Nobody enjoyed it. I don't know what the hell DC gonna do or if they gonna keep on playing around in this little weird sandbox. Excuse me. Fortunately, they do still have Penguin doing fucking fantastic across the board, though. It has been really fucking good so far. It is... Colin Farrell is a fucking dog. And if you didn't know that already, just watch The Penguin and you will understand because the man under that fucking mask and makeup and fat suit is just absolutely, not to mention he's a fucking foreigner. Like on top of that, that shit has been really dope so far. So they definitely got a heavy success and a heavy failure both on their hands at the same time right now. So never fucking know what we gonna get out of DC, but we can typically usually bet that it's somehow gonna be fucking ass, and at least they got Penguin doing good for them right now.
Well, I wouldn't know, and I'll wait until it's done. So I guess maybe to start binging it, and
I feel you.
And I'm not going to say that because you have a whole other topic with that after. So since I figured you were going to say that about the box office, that's pretty much all you had with it. So yeah, that being said, Transformers 1 was definitely good. I had one of the other homies of my generation, of the Gen X variety, that said some blasphemous shit like, yeah, it was better than the 86 movie. He's a fucking lie. Now, not only because of the fact that we had 2 years of Transformers lore to move into the 86 movie, so there was more at stake for us as kids. So this isn't nostalgia goggles. But Transformers 1 was a good movie on its own. I always put the caveat as this because I think context is everything. If I had kids, I would definitely have been more than happy to take my kid to see that movie, them being happy with it, and me also being happy with the results. Was it the best thing ever? Them having a comedic take on the Transformers and telling the story of, Optimus Prime or Orion Pax and I forgot whatever his name was, D something before it was Megatron. And
D23.
Well, I was thinking that, and I couldn't remember. Like it was, I don't think it was D23, but of course that's the first thing that came to my mind.
Right.
But whatever their relationship was before they became arch enemies, it was a good work up to a way of saying, if this was how the Autobots and Decepticons started, it was a good retelling in that way of saying, okay, let's make this the new lore, because it made sense. It's that difference between what things were like in the 70s, 80s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever, where the writing was a lot weaker, and then when we got newer stuff, the writing was better. Well, I won't even say 90s, because that's just like the same way of saying you had Batman for decades, and then Batman the Animated Series took it that much more top-notch, where it was like, yo, this is good shit, not just because it's a cartoon. This is a cartoon that, like, yeah, kids could watch, and adults could also watch and be like, yo, this is actual good fucking writing.
Right.
So it's kind of on that level of where...
Hold on, wait, sidebar. Did you see the person that did like the 3D-ish render of the Batman animated series intro?
No.
Oh my God, I can't wait to show you that shit. Go ahead.
Okay. So it's just the fact of, like I said, story-wise, it made sense. It was cool. I mean, there wasn't a lot for me to nitpick about it. It's just like you said, if the critics' score was high, audience score was high, but yeah, just for some reason people aren't going to see it, yeah, maybe it could be because of the previous Transformers movies, Michael Bay related and not, because I mean, technically the last 2 Transformers movies were not done by Michael Bay, but produced by, but
and
not done
actually
by.
Weren't even fucking bad though.
Right, and that's the other thing.
But it's just, but we had 4 or 5 with Michael Bay that
5.
Yeah, like, so by the time we got there, like the property value has come down. Niggas moved into the neighborhood.
Yeah, but I mean, but Bumblebee came after the 5th one, and you would have thought that would have hopefully it turned something around, and then
right, it's like, yo, look, the only thing we got is the one character that everybody loves, so let's make a movie about him.
I guess love, but anyway, and then with the beast shit, whatever, the Rise of the Beast,
Right.
Yeah, not horrible, but again, I'm still trying to separate that, because it's like, okay, yeah, those movies didn't do well, but it's like this is a whole other CG animated movie where,
And that too.
and I would think you would not hold that against it. It would be just like if it was on TV and it was just a new series of cartoons. It's like, why hold those live action movies against this? So again, I can't place it. I spent my money to go see it. Me and the homie Cuddy went to go see the shit. We liked the shit. Again, I have nothing to nitpick about the movie to tell you why not to see it, but definitely if you didn't enjoy it, or, if you didn't get to enjoy it in the theater, if you have not seen it, you have kids and things like that, definitely watch it when it comes to streaming. Because again, I think it's worth your time. It is a family movie, and there's bits and pieces of it that are kind of hardcore for the people that like action and want their Transformers to be a little bit more, to have more of a mortality to them, where some shit was happening. So yeah, from that perspective, like, yeah, I'm totally with it. So it's suggested.
Yeah, I just don't. I think there are a lot of factors and elements to it that contributed to it just not doing well. I mean, because it doesn't look like it's animation, but it ain't like typical kids animation.
Right.
The style and look of it is not typical kids feel animation, and like Transformers is not a hot kids property no more. Like, it's not. Once they took it to live action and made it like real, then it became more so YA type and like adults who are kind of nostalgic. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So then to take it from that and then turn it back to cartoon, but not cartoon for real, you're not getting the young kids, the older ones, and the ones who used to just the story, like that didn't give a fuck about trying to go look at an origins, animated, semi-animated look, like a weird, like, you know what I'm saying, animated origin story. It don't got a lot of the appeal that you would typically want or expect out of Transformers. You don't get you are also losing the iconic voices that we used to when it comes to the story, and not having that as a part of it. And also there's no real continuity, and they got people who are they have dope voice talent behind it, but they didn't have like mega stars behind the voice talent for real, who was like super box office draw, who was gonna get people to come fly out. So
I say Chris Hemsworth ain't a super mega draw.
no, for sure. Because it's like, nigga, when that nigga's not Thor, niggas ain't coming through the door. It's just low key unfortunate that that's like the case. You know what I'm saying? They didn't give a fuck when he was in Ghostbusters. They didn't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about him doing the Men in Black. They didn't give a fuck about him doing nothing except for Thor at this point, because he's so unfortunately synonymous with that character that it's like everything else is like, but Thor. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I've seen more of Brian Tyree doing marketing than I haven't seen Chris Hemsworth do shit. Like, I've seen Brian on all kind of shows doing interviews and all kind of shit. I haven't seen Chris Hemsworth.
Well, neither have I, but I would assume that he obviously must be busy working on something right now.
Right. But you know what I'm saying? So I say all that to say that I think those are a lot of those factors that contribute to it just doing poorly at the box office.
Yeah, no, now that I think about it, I think I have seen him doing some of those press junket things where it was like him and somebody else. I don't remember if it was him and Brian Tyree Henry or if it was him and somebody else that was on the cast, but I have seen him on like one of those press junkets of them, you know, sitting in the chairs getting interviewed by somebody, but that was probably about it.
Yeah.
Or like one of them random, like where GQ or Vogue or some shit does some YouTube shit and they do the kind of interviews thing. But,
yeah, pretty much.
Whatever. Point is, ain't none of y'all went to go see it.
Right. And you should.
Nobody out.
You know what I'm saying? But to keep this shit rolling one time and stay on theme, Agatha All Along. We ain't got a chance to talk about this show yet. We currently 6 episodes into Agatha All Along, and you are waiting to binge it, correct?
At this point, because I was under the impression, even though I did hear it was something as far as a musical number or something that was in one of the episodes.
Actually really good.
What the fuck ever. So
not even gonna lie.
You say music, because this ain't a music podcast.
Show the fuck ain't.
So anyway, when I heard that, I was like, oh, well, I'm not really interested. Not that I was interested, period, because again, as much as I love Catherine Hahn in the, between 2008 and 2011, where I really wanted to give her a piece of my mind, if you know what I mean. But, I had no interest in seeing this. And again, I'm not that guy, because Marvel has proved to me time and time again, when it doesn't seem interesting or you don't care about it, and it's like, oh, okay, I'm on board. So I'm not anti, but I'm not really interested. So at this point, I'm just going to wait and then watch it, I guess, that way. Or, I may just get bored one day and just say, all right, fuck it, I'm going to watch that first episode. But yeah, it's not anything I want to watch right on there.
No, I feel you. And bro, like, I didn't start watching it until episode 5 was out. Right. So I was sitting here fucking working, and I'm like, all right, bro, like I'm editing, cutting some shit up, and I'm like, fuck it, I threw it on. In the first episode and in the 5th episode, there is a song. And it's the same song. They just yeah, so it's I don't know, yeah, like don't let nobody tell you that it's like musical by no means.
Nobody has, and I've asked other people that have watched it, and they dispelled that. But again, still, once that was dispelled, it was still like, do you really want to watch this though? And it's still like, not really.
No. It's a cool ass song that they wrote, and the way that they incorporated it in was like kind of unexpected. And then I'm like, oh, okay, it's because it was like a dope song. I was like, oh, okay, like nigga, like so much so that after the fact, I went and pulled that bitch up on Spotify because I'm like, I know they put this shit out because that is a good fucking song. So I went. Hit Spotify. All right, kosher. Added that bitch. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's actually on my playlist. And it's like, it's either the absolute end of episode 1 or the absolute end of episode 2. It's like, yeah, but it's towards the end for sure. So it was like, what the fuck ever. And how they play it is pretty funny. Like, no spoiler shit. But it picks up where we left off with her still under Wanda's spell in Westview, just fucking like living her life as a detective. So
Westview, Philadelphia, born and raised.
You feel me? So yeah, so she's a fucking detective in Westview and just living her life there, and then it just goes, you know what I'm saying? She gets stuck with a case, and we just get into the action from there, because I don't want to say nothing spoilery that's gonna throw nothing off for nobody, but they do some interesting things. Once you do watch it, then we can start to get into it and talk about it. But there's like a mystery of sorts within it that immediately on episode 1 I made an assumption on it, and I was right. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. But that also is like a frustrating thing for me, is with anything that has some kind of mystery or twist, my brain be fucking Rubik's cubing that shit so fucking fast and unlocking the puzzle, even when it ain't telegraphed. So when it is telegraphed, it's like, nigga, I see it coming. And even still, did not take away from my enjoyment of the show so far.
Smarty arty ass nigga. Ask me this. Can you whip my ass? So yeah, you always the one for that. Anyway.
Yeah, no, like definitely. I saw the fucking twist coming in Trap, but that's because M. Night Shyamalan is the one that fucking got a nigga mind even looking into untwisting twists in the first fucking place. And I definitely
I bet you I know it's one twist that you can't figure out with M. Night Shyamalan. Bet you it's one that you have never figured out to this day. Why this nigga keep putting himself in his movies?
Oh, nigga.
Anyway.
Cause look, bruh, I ain't know if you was gonna go there or if you was gonna go how that nigga keep getting the funding, nigga. But
I should have went there, but that would be a smack in the face to him. Like, I don't enjoy some of the shit that he does. So
true.
That's the one thing.
Cause I feel like if I'm not mistaken, I feel like he didn't direct Devil, but he produced it. The joint where they was in the elevator.
Yeah.
But I did actually enjoy Devil, and the visit with the grandparents was fucking good. Like, that was like, oh, this nigga actually still has something in the fucking tank. Like, okay, cool. And then Old was ass. Split might be the best shit that nigga's done low-key since Sixth Sense, nigga.
Oh, there's a caveat with that. I'm like, best shit he's done? No. But no, Sense. Okay.
Yeah. That might be the best shit he's done since Sixth Sense. But then he low-key fucked it up with Glass. Not even low-key. He high-key fucked it up with Glass.
Because I don't really even... Yeah, I did not enjoy that, so...
Yeah, like, just... It's like, I see... In the end, all right, cool. I get it. We fucking see what he did there. But it was like, no, nigga, at the same time. Especially because there's not going to be a sequel to that shit. So what you teased will never have a fucking payoff. And that's frustrating. So what the fuck ever. But yeah. Like I was saying though, even me seeing what they were gonna do with Agatha, I still have enjoyed it so far. And they did bring back that same song. They just went from like an impromptu a cappella version that kind of came unexpectedly to hey, we're all the members of a band and we have to play it, and we're gonna do this particular rendition a couple episodes later. But yeah, no, not a musical thing. Pretty dope though. So far so good. Catherine Hahn is a fucking dog. I have been like, bro, she is this character. It's cool as fuck. Especially seeing the difference from Agatha being a legitimate like old witch in the comics to what they decided to do with her here for the MCU. I like the decision, the choice that they made with it. So that's that in that area. And yeah, we're gonna get back into it. I ain't gonna talk about it for the next couple episodes. I'm gonna wait until they finish it up because I believe we got 3 more episodes left. So we're gonna see how that shit wrap up and then cover it once we get to the end of it and Vic got time to go through it and binge that joint.
Word.
For sure. All right, what else we got for the day?
So I mean, what when you think of Halloween, outside of it being scary movies or your favorite scary movies, what's some of your favorite media or things that you look forward to or that you've experienced in the past Halloween related, whether it be a movie, whether it be TV show, anything like that? What are highlights for you? Something that stands out that you would want the people to possibly see or share with?
Oh man. Halloween themed or scary media.
But you need a minute to think about that?
I mean, was that the video game segue?
No. I said movies or TV shows or anything.
Oh, look, because I'm over here preparing to get into my nostalgia bag because I haven't been watching anything like too much for real. So I'm about to get into my throwbacks, and with my throwbacks, the 3 things that come to mind are Goosebumps, Are You Afraid of the Dark, and So Weird. One of which being, I don't even remember who produced Goosebumps. I feel like it was one of the it was like Channel 5 like type joint. It was one of them like miscellaneous. But I know Are You Afraid of the Dark was Nickelodeon in a Saturday night like YA lineup, which was Snick.
Which makes sense because I was thinking about that. I remember that coming on, but I knew there had to be a reason I wasn't watching it because, again, why the fuck would I be watching that in my 20s on a Saturday night? Like, nigga, I was probably at Vale's.
You feel me? Right. Yeah. So that was like the last show in the Snick lineup
or
and
preparing
shit.
to go to Vale's.
For sure. So yeah, so there was that. And So Weird was actually a Disney Channel show. It was one of the ones they had like in that YA lineup, which was like along with The Jersey and joints like that. Like Disney had a weird little run that they went on, like early 2000s, like late 90s, early 2000s, where they literally did a new movie every week for at least like a year straight. So every Friday, it was like they had a little jingle and shit. Let's watch a Disney Channel movie. Like they were producing movies, cranking them bitches the fuck out. And I need to go look into it because what was them niggas on? Like, that was crazy. A new movie every week. That's where we got a bunch of shit you probably ain't even gonna be hip to. But that's where we got Smart House. That's where we got Brink. That's where we got fucking Smart House, Brink, Xenon, Girl of the 21st Century. Like all these fucking movies they were giving us every Friday, nonstop, just going. Was dope as fuck. But they also had a dope YA show lineup going on. There was one about EMTs. It's weird as fuck, because why the fuck would I be watching a show about EMTs? But it must have been at least decent. But So Weird is one of them. And it was about a chick named Fiona, a little girl named Fiona, teenager, my fucking age at the time. We also got Famous Jet Jackson out of that too. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace, Lee Thompson Young. But so weird was surrounding this girl named Fiona. Her father had died. Her mother was a rock star, like was like the lead singer of a band, and they literally traveled all over the world, or all over the country, touring for her mother. And she would always be having these supernatural encounters and solving mysteries, encountering ghosts, aliens, all kind of shit. And that show had me in a fucking chokehold, bruh, because it's just like it seemed like it was possible, you know what I'm saying, somehow, some fucking way. But those would be the 3 joints. Definitely Goosebumps, because, you know, we went from getting the books to actually being able to see the stories brought to real life. Are You Afraid of the Dark, which are all easily findable and available now. They on at least one of the streaming services, and you can find a bunch of the episodes on YouTube. And like I said, So Weird, being a Disney property, very well should be on Disney Plus, because every the hell thing else is.
Feel it. For me, traditionally, a lot of Gen Xers and beyond can relate. Even though he brought it up to pre-production, it's the Great Pumpkin. Charlie Brown is one of those things that immediately speaks out to me when I think about Halloween. But that coming up and being a tradition of watching that. But see, that was also back, especially in the 80s for us kids then, when we didn't have cable, or cable was few and far between. Us seeing cartoons on at prime time was the shit that, you know, would make us, well, we loved it. I'm not going to make it inappropriate. But nonetheless, watching those, and whether it was the Thanksgiving episode or Christmas episode, but yeah, it's the Great Pumpkin. Charlie Brown was definitely one of those that really stands out for me as far as seeing something that was very Halloween centric, didn't have anything necessarily to do with horror, that I love checking out all the time. And I mean, even still to this day, when you have other, you know, everybody, as far as all of the sitcoms that we watch, and everybody has, you know, different Halloween episodes and things, there have been some stuff that stood out. Like, you know, we were talking before, like there's at least 3 Community episodes that were Halloween themed that do stand out to me, that I do like. But again, that's still biased, because I love that show for at least 5 out of the 6 seasons that it existed. So that's one of those. But sidebarring from that, I happen to think about and asking you, what was your, and I don't even have an answer to this yet, because I got to think about this. What was your favorite Halloween costume that you had at any point?
I ain't gonna lie to you, I genuinely can't really remember ever having a really dope Halloween costume.
Insert sad violin music. Okay, there we go.
I'm the editor. I did it.
So, damn, that's a shame. Now,
I know.
What's funny is that I couldn't really think of a favorite, honestly, but there's 2 at least that stand out to me that I remember specific things about. I remember the Spider-Man costume that had to be probably, I don't know, I'm going to assume it was like 78, 79, somewhere around there, because I had to be like 4. Yeah, 4. Because yeah, if it was 79, I was probably like 4. Because it was the old plastic shits with the little mouth holes that kids used to always cut their fucking tongue on, sticking your tongue through that shit, and how everybody used to always have a plastic ass. That's why I fucking hate. I don't hate kids now, but I hate the fact that you motherfuckers don't appreciate the shit you got to be able to walk into a Walmart and have a full ass Spider-Man costume that looks like Spider-Man's costume, aside from you not having feet and gloves on the shit. And we had to run around with these fucking half plastic masks and a whole fucking plastic ass suit that we tied up on us that had fucking Spider-Man on the chest. Like, nigga, why do you have the same motherfucker you're supposed to be on your fucking chest? No less. I remember having that one, especially because of the mask. So that was like special at that time to have that. And then I think probably it had to be when I was either 5 or 6. I remember I had a Captain America one. And I remember this well because my grandmother, my father's mother, was visiting for some reason and was in Cleveland. And I remember I was supposed to go to school to wear that to school for whatever we were doing Halloween related that day. And I had the shit on, and she told me to stop playing around in it or I was going to end up tearing it or some shit. And sure enough, I fucking split that shit to where I ended up not being able to wear the body part of it maybe for some reason because it had a whole like tear in the crotch kind of thing. So that shit stands out to me. But I think aside from that, I can't remember one other time as a kid or even as an adult that I did something for Halloween that really stood out other than back in '08 when me and my ex, who wasn't even my girl at the time, had dressed up on some Star Wars shit where she was kind of dressed like a Jedi and I was kind of on my makeshift Sith shit with my lightsabers, my good ones. That was probably the last time I really got the chance to do that shit. And for the last few years, I've been holding all of this shit to have a brand new makeshift one. I bought brand new shit. I have not gotten to wear none of that shit yet. And that kind of pisses me off. But yeah, it's a damn shame we don't have a... And I don't know if that's a black thing because of the fact that we don't really get to enjoy Halloween in the way that we would like to.
Yeah, I think as an adult, the only time I ever had a joint that was like, oh yeah, this shit dope. My ex we were going to her family. Somebody in her family was having like a Halloween party, and they had a costume contest, and I actually won. And that's the only thing I can think of. And what I did was, I went to a Halloween store, and they had this fucking horrifying clown mask, my nigga. It was like just demented looking fucking like hobo clown. And that was how I pieced it together. So the dope part was the mouth was a separate piece that you put around your ears that strapped to your chin. So it covered like the top part curled around, so it would go under your actual lip, and then the chin part had the lip that will curl around your bottom lip. So when you move your mouth, you actually got the moving mouth, and it had like between. So between the two pieces, so it didn't like break the illusion like seeing your skin underneath. So that mask was fucking creepy as shit. I had a super realistic looking fake knife that I covered in blood.
Whose blood?
Fake blood. Promise. I had a old shitty flannel that I put on with I took the shirt and the jeans, I took them outside, and I just like fucking low key beat them up in the backyard and shit for real, like some old dirty jeans and shit already, and had them bitches on. So I just had and I had on fucking, and I went and got some of the hobo fingertipless gloves and shit, and I was walking through that bitch like, bro, like no bullshit, was like low key in my Joker bag before The Dark Knight had came out type shit. The way I was walking around, just walking up on people all night, not actually saying shit, and was just moving my mouth very much like Joker. That's why I say like before this happened and shit. So I'm just like, just licking my fucking fake lips and shit, and like licking the knife and just like rubbing it on myself and shit, and walking around scaring the fucking shit out everybody. They knew it was like, she was telling them it was me, but I would not break. So I stayed in character all night, and then won the costume contest and shit. And after I won, and had everybody fucking laughing because I came up like, nigga, licking the knife and shit. Nigga rubbed it on somebody's fucking face when they gave me the money. And after that is when I finally like came out of character at the end of the night. Dope as fuck. Now that is the only thing I can think of that I like thoroughly like enjoyed. That shit had like the fucking patchy shitty hair, everything. Like that shit was dope. And I put that shit, the rest of it I had to just make up and put together. And like, so it all just stemmed off of the dope ass mask, which I wish I still had.
I feel it. All right. One thing I did forget about, you talked about earlier, so I'm gonna throw out there also. The movie Fun Size. It was a Nickelodeon movie. Starred Victoria Justice. I forgot Johnny Knoxville was in it. I had to look up about that shit. And yeah, Chelsea Handler played her mother. But it's basically like she was a girl that ended up losing her brother on Halloween night because he wanted to go trick-or-treating. And I think she was bullshit. Like she didn't want to go. But she wanted to go to a party or some shit. And they spent the whole night ensuing basically trying to find her little brother. And hijinks ensued. And surprisingly, this came out in 2012. So I remember I saw it in 2013. So that was I was about to bring up the random year being like, yeah, that was the year I dumped my bitch. But it was, so it's memorable in that sense. But I remember watching the movie with my ex's youngest son, and it was surprisingly entertaining. So if you haven't seen that, dust around Halloween, it's not scary. It is a fun time for the kids. So again, just like Transformers 1 or Fun Size, if you haven't seen it, again, like I said, you ain't got to seek it out. But if you happen to run across it, like I said, I think you won't hate seeing that. But that's probably one of the last other things to not do the atypical like we do every year and start talking about scary movies and shit just for Halloween, just because. So that's all I got on that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And don't forget, just super random, and I don't know why that shit just popped into my mind, but The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse, fucking hilarious. Just go watch that shit.
Word.
Yep. All right, cool. So, video game bag.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. So, in conjunction with that, since we were talking about scary moments, but then we thought about there's actually pretty scary moments in certain video games that we have never talked about here, and just kind of, touching on some of that. So, I know he has one specific one. I think probably to make it more concise, I'm only going to go into the one, a specific one that I had in mind. So yeah, video game bag, scary moments or scary things within the video games. What you got?
So y'all know I'm trash when it comes to the video games. I'm typically only in my retro bag, which is why behind me is the Sega Genesis, the Nintendo, the 64, Sega Genesis, or I'm old school. I'm throwback. All right, so I ain't got much for y'all when it comes to the new games where shit gets scary. And I wouldn't do something typical and Jake as fuck, like being like, oh, Resident Evil is scary. You know what I'm saying? That's whack. Silent Hill is, come on now, I ain't gonna be that typical with it. But I will tell you, in a game that is not necessarily a horror game or supposed to be a scary game per se, there are some fucking dope moments in the Zelda series. And of course, y'all know I'll be up on my Switch. With that being said, particularly Tears of the Kingdom. Huge fucking map. Y'all know, especially if you play Breath of the Wild, that is a huge fucking map in an open world game concept where you can go anywhere, do any fucking thing, basically. They doubled the map in Tears of the Kingdom. Actually, like 2.5 times, because there's the depths and there's sky islands too. Didn't even mention that. But there's ways to find yourself getting up, catapulted up or flying up through constructs and machines you can build and shit to get up to the sky islands. And then there's miscellaneous caverns, holes, and ways that you can find as entrances into the depths. First thing first, dropping into the depths is crazy as fuck. Because if you find one of them holes or just drop into one of them bitches, you fall for a legitimate like 2 fucking minutes. And it just gets darker and darker and darker as you fall. Then if you manage to not fucking die falling down, open your parachute in time, your glider or whatever, get yourself down to the ground safely, you might be immediately falling into something as simple as lava. Or you might be falling into, depending on where you at in the map, you might be falling into a fucking boss level battle that you are completely unfucking prepared for. You could also be falling into like a small level boss battle that you also might not be fucking prepared for, because when you get down there, it is pitch fucking black, pure darkness around you. You can barely see anything, and what you have to do is you have to navigate your way around, hoping that you don't get fucked up by a creature that you can hear but can't see, and find light routes to be able to light particular areas of the map in the depths for you to then be able to see and maneuver through. And no matter what you do, though, there's always still going to be areas within the depths that are still dark. There's additional enemies down there from the previous game who, after you win the previous game, basically got forced underground. So you encounter them and they disguise themselves. So you miscellaneously might come across somebody who is begging for help, and then when you go try to be a fucking helping hand and shit, they be like, yeah, nigga, I'm from the Yiga clan, what's good, nigga? And then just up blades on you and shit, start trying to take your ass the fuck out. That occurs. Then there's fucking creatures in the depths that are legitimately the size of elephants, if not bigger, that do shit, for example, like belly flop 30 feet into the fucking air and then can either crush you or cause earthquake style damage that you will receive residually from them landing on the ground too close to you. Or if you are close enough to them, they will fucking do an ultra inhale and suck you in, chew you the fuck up and spit you out, typically killing you. So like, and these are things that you wouldn't even see if you haven't even found a way to light your path. Now, of course, there are some things that you can add to your arrows, little light seeds that you can shoot onto the ground, the wall, things that they will stick to that can partially light up areas that you're in down there. But there are also creatures who feed off those, so they will go approach them and eat them, darkening your path again. So that shit right there, the first time I dropped into the depths, I low-key encountered almost everything within a matter of a couple fucking minutes because I just dropped into the wrong place at the wrong motherfucking time.
See, it probably would have been even more enhanced if you played that shit on the TV.
Absolutely. That shit would have been crazy had I played it on the TV, which is definitely optional and possible.
That's why I brought it up.
But
don't deny yourself.
The advantages of the Switch, though, is being able to just play that hoe wherever.
No, I understand that, but you also have that option of doing it there. So I'm just saying you should probably enhance your,
Yeah, my overall viewing and playing experience. I respect it. I'm with you. But yeah, that's what I got. What you got?
So for the one game for people that have been hip for the last 6 years, or longer, if you play Red Dead Redemption 1, but let alone Red Dead Redemption 2, mine also stands out kind of just like his in the fact that we're talking about games that are not necessarily meant to be scary on surface level, but they have plenty of it in knowing how to convey that feeling and set the tone for absolutely scary things. So right offhand, I would say even with Red Dead Redemption 1 and with 2, you have animal factors that are always there. So Red Dead 2 specifically, well, even like Red Dead 1, whenever you're just running around anywhere and you're on the horse, you don't really want to hear a panther or a mountain lion, cougar, or whatever growling because, one, it will scare the shit out of your horse. Your horse may buck you off of him. And then you got to deal with that goddamn mountain lion that could kill you in probably like 1 or 2 hits. That's always number one. I used to hate fucking hearing that growling as I'm going around. And the one thing about playing, newer games is that either playing them with a headset on or playing them with a nice TV where you can hear the surround sound, because that shit makes the difference.
Thanks.
Because when you hear wherever it's coming from, then you're hearing it dynamically from whatever direction it's supposed to be there. So that's bad enough. In Red Dead 2, there is an area that's supposed to resemble more like New Orleans or just being in the South, period, like Louisiana. When you hit the swamps, number one, you already have gators down there. So as you're down there, there's plenty of places where gators are sitting there. They're like real gators where they're not really making a lot of noise and not paying you no attention, but you could just end up running on one. On top of the fact, again, you're talking about you running into cougars, anything like that. The grizzly bears are fucking so goddamn scary as well. Wolves when you're in like the upper regions. But the main thing is absolutely the fucking worst. The worst in a good way. Red Dead 2, in the swamps, there are these people called the night folk. The night folk live out there and are apparently predatory on people that happen to cross their path. So when you're going in the daytime, generally you won't see them. But at nighttime, though, as you're just galloping along the road, it's already dark as shit, you could have a lantern out, anything, you just may hear a lady crying. And as you're going to investigate this lady crying, it seems like she needs help. And as you walk up on her, because she's got her back to you, she immediately jumps the fuck up and comes at you with a knife. But is it just her? No. It's like her and maybe 3 to 4 to 5 of her other friends that are now swarming you to kill you in the middle of the swamp. The way that this is done and executed, absolutely fucking, it's heart terrorizing in the worst, best way. Because again, you think it's not some shit that's supposed to be like horror, but like, yeah, they have a good time setting it up for the horror mood that it's supposed to be. And it's scary every fucking time. I've never been sitting there playing a game in the middle of the day, let alone at night when it's even worse. And I'm just walking through and hearing shit. And I'm like, yeah, I don't even want to go investigate. And it's a fucking video game. Just terrible. But if you play through long enough, you know, you get your comeuppance on the night folk. But not only that, so that's the night folk, but then also, yeah, I didn't tell you about the, God damn it, I'm trying to think of what their names are. It's a clan of them. And their name starts with a B.
Ku Klux?
No. Well, the clan is in the game.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah, that's one of the funniest parts of like, when you get to that southern area, it's not quite where the Louisiana is. It's a little bit west of that. But yeah, the clan is there.
That's crazy.
So you can actually be rolling, especially if you do it at night. They're actually having a clan meeting and they're in the middle of the woods with the burning crosses and everything, having a meeting. And there's a couple of different encounters that you can have with them randomly that pops up. And they are fucking hilarious. If you're ever bored, yeah, type in KKK Red Dead Redemption 2. And I'm sure there's some very funny videos of niggas doing shit to the clan in that shit. Absolutely wonderful. But those aren't really scary. But most of the things that you run into in that game where you see it and you hear it from a distance and you see them, you know, in the trees and shit, because you could be on the road, but then you see them in the trees, always some bullshit with it. But the other clan that's a little bit more up north, damn it, it's on the tip of my tongue what their name is. But they're cannibals.
Oh, hell no.
And so what will happen is they also try to get you in that way where you may see them in a camp. Or I've had some time where I went to sleep in the camp in their area. The Murphys. Yeah, the Murphy brothers. That's the name of them. You could be setting up the camp and you set the shit up and all of a sudden you awaken with these niggas trying to rob you and or basically kill you and
eat you.
Yes, and they are all over that shit where they could just pop up out of nowhere. Nigga, it always has you on your toes outside of you worrying about fucking animals and shit. But that's what I got. If you've never played Red Dead Redemption 2, it's going to suck up a lot of your fucking time because there's so many things you could do that have nothing to do with the actual story. You can go fishing, you go hunting, you could do all of these things, but all of that shit in between, you could play poker, you could do whatever you want to do. But yeah, it's damn. It's a lot.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Damn. All right, shit. Damn, we didn't cover the box office. We didn't cover Agatha. We didn't talk about goddamn DC being failures. Michael Keaton never really going nowhere, but still being around and shit. We didn't get into the video game bag. We didn't talk about our throwback fucking Halloween themes and horror shit. We didn't get into the costumes. I feel like we done cooked on this episode.
Yeah, but we're not done though.
We're not done.
Nope.
We got the albums done, but we're not done.
I realized there was something else that I forgot to tell you about. I don't know if you saw. I got hip to, I only watched one of them, but there's some little shorts, horror themed shorts that people have done, like 2-minute videos. Mm-hmm. And there's this one called Agnes. And I guess this company has made a bunch of them. So I didn't watch Agnes 2 or something else they had with it. But it was fucked up though, is the Agnes one that I watched, it's very much like a thing that Jay Stu did. And I don't really know which one came first, so I'm not going to ruin it for you, but I'll definitely off camera. But yeah, YouTube Agnes or Agnes 2, and you'll see. I'll pull it up and see if I can find the company that makes it, because it is definitely something that y'all should check out. It's a well, no, it's not a company. It's a guy named Alexander the Titan, and he has a couple of these short films, and there's some other ones like that in the horror genre. Like it's only like 2 or 3 minutes, or maybe 5 minutes at most. But there's these little scary ass vignettes, and like Agnes is one of those ones where it was like, yo, this, you try not to act like a bitch, but then it's like, yeah, I'm sitting there, especially if I'm watching it late. It's like, yo, I really don't be in the mood to watch this because it's not. It's always that type of shit where it's like not extra paranormal, but it's just real enough where you like, if I saw this in front of me right now, and I don't mean the monster, because that's what always makes shit worse. That is so fucking scary. Even though my particular brand of what I find is horrifying is like, I think about a person that's like 2 feet tall. And when I say 2 foot tall person, I don't mean like a dwarf. I mean like a perfectly, what was the word I'm thinking of? Goddamn.
Anatomically correct?
Well, anatomically correct, but I'm saying, well, perfectly proportioned person, but they only are 2 feet tall. So it's almost like they're a doll. But like if I ran in the house and like and one of them was in the house and the nigga just looked at me and took off, nigga, I would shit myself. That's what I'm saying. That's the type of thing that scares me. It's not so much about the monsters and shit like that.
Ass nigga.
Yeah, just a little ass nigga. Like, cause especially like when I like sleep, you know, my bedroom door is always open. Again, it's only me in there, so my apartment is, as far as I'm concerned, is one whole big room. But nonetheless, if I just woke up or just turned to the side and looked out my bedroom door and a 2 foot tall nigga just looked at me and just ran the fuck off, nigga, I'm shitting myself. That's what I'm saying. That's the type of shit that gets me. And outside of them kind of touching on that with Tales from the Hood, they still didn't do it in that way. Like I said, anything that is more than just like, yeah, them people coming out of the pain and shit, but still just well proportioned, but not right. Where you like, hey, why is this here? Like that shit's fucked up. I remember even when I was a kid, I used to have these ideas of like somebody just walking from like one room to the next, but it was almost like a shadow person, like little shit like that. That's all I need to really fuck with me. That's why that shit from It Follows was that shit from that one scene when that nigga came in the room. It's like, nigga, that's what I'm talking about. But anyway, so that's what I got for that. So aside from that, before we get out of here, I'm gonna shout out the homie. I've talked about him on previous episodes way the fuck back in the day. I don't even know if it was some of the ones that came out or not, but here we are again. So my nigga Chad Bilyeu, in his series called Chad in Amsterdam. It's a comic series. He has like 6 books. This is the hardcover version of Chad in Amsterdam, collecting all of these. My nigga Chad from the CLE, from the Heights, he ended up going to Georgetown and some other shit, but then he ended up moving to Amsterdam. And this is like the tales and stories of a black man living in Amsterdam and some of the weird shit he sees, some of the racist shit he sees, and he collects it all in this. And this is one of the dopest fucking things you have ever read. If you're into comics, or even if you're not, you just want to hear a wild perspective of a nigga talking about shit that you just wouldn't be privy to all that. It's about a real nigga in Amsterdam. Check this shit out. So Google Chad in Amsterdam, and you can either buy the issues separately, or like I said, you can get the hardcover versions. If you're in Cleveland, they also sell these at Max Backs over on Coventry. So again, you can get them locally if you are here. And he has another series that he did in conjunction with a young lady. I can't think of her name right now. Juliette DeWitt, actually, called The Re-Up. And these are stories about Chad when he sold weed. So again, if you want to hear some fun, and Chad's a fucking great storyteller, no less too. So yeah, he has different stories in his life about when, you know, he ended up selling weed and just the weird shit that comes with that. So there's also 6 issues of this that are out so far. So yeah, he could Chad in Amsterdam, Chad Bilyeu, Bilyeu. He has a lot of dope shit, but yeah, the weed stories are funny. The Chad in Amsterdam stories are funny. One of the Chad in Amsterdam stories I'm going to ruin sort of for you has nothing to do with Amsterdam, but it had to do with him telling a story about when he was a kid rolling with his uncle, I believe, and it had to do with his uncle either selling weed or cocaine to Shalimar.
Oh.
Yeah, nigga. These things happen. So check it out. Chad in Amsterdam. Google that. You'll run into all the Chad shit. But I guarantee you it's worth checking out. And like I said, and if you live here locally in Cleveland, Max Backs on Coventry, they sell all of these and you can get them right there. So that's all I got.
Yeah, nigga. I got some shit that I'm gonna show you once we get off camera too, which is really fucking dope. That this chick named Tanya does, which is crazy as fuck. And yeah, just just go follow Tanya on Instagram. Her art is fucking crazy and horrifying at the same time. I really low-key probably won't rest until I own one of her pieces, but I probably will own it just to say I own it and put that bitch in a box somewhere and never actually look at it because them shits are so fucking good. Like, all her pieces are either paintings or mirror illusions or like window frame illusions that has a subject. The subject in the painting is coming out of, or in the mirror is coming out of it realistically as fuck. Like, and her pieces are made to be like either some on the wall, some as like table displays. But them shits are fucking terrifying because if you didn't know and you just saw that shit, freak you right the fuck out because that shit is so fucking realistic and creepy. Right. Bitch is dope. But that right there will wrap it up for another episode of Blerds and Clips, our TV, movie, video game, and whatever the hell else we feel like talking about podcast.
What kind of podcast?
TV, movie, video game, and whatever the hell else we feel like talking about podcast. 3 years running, always talking about that.
Do with that what you will.
And as always, y'all make sure y'all tap in, tune in, follow the gang. I, of course, am one half of your hosting situation here. I go by the name of BKA Watts. Make sure y'all follow me at BKA Watts.
And it's the award-winning Vigatron. Hi there. I did it in the opposite way this time. But Vigatron 999 on all social medias, on PlayStation Network. Friend me, all of that shit. I'm okay.
And of course, make sure y'all follow the podcast page at Blerds and Clips, where we will be dropping a bunch of new clips and shit as we roll out these episodes.
Clips?
And
Blerds and Clips is dropping clips?
Right. What are the odds? So, come on, man. Fuck with your boys. You already know what it is. We get some money. As usual, we'll holler at y'all on the next one of them things. We about this bitch. Love, peace, and chicken grease.